Today's wonderful story comes from a workshop leader called Jerry Schmidt. This happened in the summer of 1992. It was the last day of a residential personal change seminar in the Rocky Mountains in Winter Park, Colorado. The group of 75 people had bonded very strongly over the past 20 days. And one thing they did as part of their group process was to create a piece of visual artwork representing our community, or who we are. The group started with a large piece of plywood, 4 feet into 8 feet, which they covered with a collaborative painting symbolizing their experience together. It was painted with red, white, black, and yellow to symbolize all the people of the earth. And it was filled with a collage of handprints, spirals, many beautiful symbols, and the individual contributions of every participant. The finished piece was very meaningful to everyone. Now, we were at the very end of a packed 3 weeks, and the group was about to finish their time together and head home. Only one thing remained to be done. The question before the group was, what are we going to do with this piece of art that is us? The group discussion started, and since I was the trainer, I was somewhat involved with helping facilitate this process. Soon it became clear that most of the group's opinion was that it should be kept safe and given to somebody who would be the custodian. But the question remained, how are we going to do this? We had people from all over the world, and it was not a small piece of plywood. Who was going to take it, and how were they going to get it there? Then one man spoke up. Well, he said, because this is so challenging, and because we are spread out all over the planet, we've got people from Europe and Asia, my proposal is we destroy it. We burn it. In that way, it's like everybody has it. I could feel the tension in the room rise instantly. It was clear that the group was generally very opposed to the idea of destroying this piece of art. It was the end of 20 days, and everyone was tired and ready to leave. I could see in their faces that to most of them, burning the artwork would seem like a great offense to what it represented. The man who had offered the suggestion was thinking on a more abstract level, but almost everyone else wanted to keep this piece of art that represented their close-knit community that had come together over the past several weeks. They did not want to destroy it. I was trying to facilitate this conversation, and I was not particularly effective. After about 15 minutes, we hadn't made any progress toward a solution. I had my eye on the clock because we were already going overtime, and I needed to get everyone out of the room. It was obvious to me that this was not going to resolve quickly. Even on the let's keep it side, there were many different opinions, but that side was becoming more and more polarized against the guy who was saying, destroy it. People were getting frustrated and upset, and the prospect of a satisfying group closing was unraveling by the second. At this point, somebody in the group stood up and proposed to have a vote so that we could at least get past the keep it or destroy it alternatives. But before I could respond, a Native American from the Mi'kmaq tribe in eastern Canada stood up and faced me directly. Jerry, "Can I take over?" he asked. "I have an approach. And if you give me 10 minutes by the clock, I will have this solved." I had no idea what he had in mind, but I was more than glad to let him take this problem off my hands. I was tired, and the discussion wasn't going anywhere useful, so I told him, "Go ahead." He came up to the front of the room, and first he asked, "Is everyone agreeing that we need to have a resolution?" People nodded, and he continued, "I have the solution. If we're all willing to go along." Everyone said, yeah, go ahead." Then he turned to the man who wanted to destroy the artwork, and gesturing to him, he spoke in a soft, deep voice that seemed entirely unhurried, unconstrained by time. In my Native American tradition, when we have a group which is on one side, and we have one person who is on another side, we would never have a vote to overrule him, because it is obvious that the majority will win, making him isolated. We would never do that to someone. The solution is, we're going to turn over the responsibility for the decision to you, the one who is the isolated person. You are going to decide for all of us. There was no mistaking that the words of the Native American were wholeheartedly genuine and sincere. He was really completely giving over the decision to this man. I could almost hear people's jaws hitting the floor. As I looked around the room, I saw eyes wide with surprise. It was an amazing thing to watch the wave of shock move through the room. But then, very quickly, I began to see that certain people started to understand the wisdom in what the Native American had done, and they relaxed a little. The man who had been given responsibility to make the decision went through his own initial shock. Right at first, there was a little bit of a glint in his eye, which I'm guessing was his self-interest side. But then I could see a change taking place inside of him as well. His face went through several emotional swings, though I couldn't exactly tell what they meant. Pretty soon, he stood up to speak. "Well, I think it's obvious that we need to find a way that satisfies all of us," he said. I could feel the tension in the room dissipating. Earlier, it had been clear in the man's argumentative tone that he had set himself against the rest of the group. But as soon as the responsibility was completely in his hands, his opposition simply melted away. It was wonderful. He immediately started moving in the other direction. He said, "My objection was that there wasn't a place where we could put this big artwork. And I want to honor the spirit of what we all did together. So let me ask, is there a place where we could put this piece of art where everybody could access it and it would feel fair to all of us?" Very quickly, someone who had not been involved in the earlier discussion spoke up. "I have a place," she said. "It's a big barn in the central United States where I could hang it. I also have a truck here. We could cut the piece in half and transport it. And once it's hanging up, I can take a picture of it and send it to everybody here. And all of you are welcome to drop by and visit it at any time." Immediately, it was done. The shift was profound. The emotional ripple through the room was huge. You can tell the difference between people who are just agreeing because they want an argument to be over and people who are deeply satisfied. It was a wonderful moment. Everyone was really pleased, including the man who had originally objected. The whole group was suddenly aligned, and there was a powerful sense of completion. The wisdom of the Native American entrusting so much responsibility with this one man made me imagine a culture in which that kind of approach was a common practice. That conception of community would create a profoundly different way of living and working together. My Native American friend from the Mimak tribe glanced down at his watch. Looking up again, he met my eyes and said, 7 minutes.